Some of the biggest names in the tech world, from Meta to Apple, continue to face scrutiny from European regulators. So will this wave of regulation abroad lead to more domestic legislation on this? To give us his take, we've got Tom Wheeler here, former FCC Chairman and author of the book Techlash, Who Makes the Rules in the Digital Gilded Age. Tom, it's great to speak with you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Obviously, AI makes the regulation of tech question even more prescient. I'm curious from your perspective, if you can just give us some context about what is at stake here. What is your base case for the consequences if no real AI legislation and regulation comes to fruition here in the U.S.?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be with you today. I think when we look at AI, we've got to recognize that all of the things that have happened in the last 12 months that have our heads spinning are probably the least amount of change that we will see in our lifetimes. And so the question becomes, how do we deal with that? How do we transform from an industrial economy that was overseen by industrial era style regulation to a digital economy, to an AI economy that has oversight to protect the public interest? And the challenge thus far is that, at least in the United States, our policymakers have failed to step up to that challenge. And we are seeing the rules being developed by other nations and by states in the United States, both of which will create new problems for those tech companies who rely on a uniform market.
Mr. Ray, what more specifically do those problems, do those issues look like? And you talk about the fact that some others outside of the U.S. have been taking the steps. Is what Europe is doing, are they saying a good example? Should the U.S. be following in Europe's footsteps when it comes to this?
Yeah, I think Europe is inventing a new paradigm, if you will, where they have said, first of all, we're going to step up and do something to ensure competitiveness and fairness in the market, something that American regulators have failed to do. And they've said, and we're going to do it in a new manner. We're not going to clone the old industrial era style regulation, which was micromanagement. Instead, we're going to say, here are the goals. Here are the four corners of what we expect for companies' behavior. And the companies, knowing that, are going to be expected to show us how they are complying. Mm-hmm. And that is a whole new approach. It is a much more agile approach. It is an approach that continues to encourage innovation and investment. And it is setting the standard for how we should approach things in the United States, if we will ever get to that point with a Congress that has a hard time making any decisions.